Arizona State is traveling to Starkville, play Mississippi State. This game last year, Arizona State got off to a hot start, and then Mississippi State kind of came back, and uh, I don't know if they covered it backdoor, but I think it ended up, not necessarily being super competitive, but it ended up being a respectful game, late there in the fourth quarter. Line's only at 7. College football playoff team, Arizona State, and one of the Big 12 favorites is only a 7-point favorite against Mississippi State. We talked about Mississippi State in their preview this year. This is a way better roster from just a season ago. Way better roster. I think Southern Miss is actually a pretty decent team in the Sun Belt. They should be fine down there. And early on, I know it looked a little bit, Southern Miss able to run the ball. Oh no, Mississippi State, what's going on there? But yeah, you just hitched your wagon to Fluff Bothwell and Devon Booth, and Blake Shapen ended up getting things going, even with the loss of Kevin Coleman and the loss of, actually not Kevin. Yeah, was he on that team last year?
Yep.
And then Mario Craver as well. You still were able to find some guys. I thought Anthony Evans was pretty solid. Brendan Thompson, it's
Deep
really
threat.
nice. Yeah, he had a touchdown called back too, like a big touchdown called back in that game as well. And he represented you at SEC Media Days, a guy that really couldn't crack those wide receiver rooms at Oklahoma and Texas the way that he wanted to. So, yeah, interesting work too from this defense here. I'll roll with Mississippi State +7, Arizona State to win. Not gonna feel great about that, but wasn't super impressed with Arizona State week 1. And of course, we love to overreact to things that happened during week 1. I think Arizona State will be fine over the course of the season, but that doesn't mean that they won't have a close game here with the Bulldogs of Starkville.
Yeah, I mean, well, last year too, in that game, it was the Cam Scadaboo. It was the Cam Scadaboo show, right? He was 260 yards for you. He was just a monster. 33 carries. Yeah, it was him, and that was before like Sam Levitt like really settled into the role as quarterback, and that was before Jordan Tyson emerged as like your star receiver. Like that Arizona State team they saw in September was a lot different than the team in December that really gave Texas a run for their money. So I do like, yes, we talked about Mississippi State getting much better. Arizona State, that team that they played last year, is a better team than they were last year, and they do have to go on the road. They are 7-point favorites. I was impressed with Mississippi State. I know, that first half was like grinded out against Southern Miss. Like it was the Braylon Braxton show. He's really good, and he's going to give people problems again in the Sun Belt. What he did at Marshall, now he's coming over Southern Miss following Charles Huff. But that defense from Mississippi State, outside of that one like 82-yard drive that Southern Miss had, like, and they made them work for everything they had. So I came away impressed with both teams in that game actually, and then they started leaning on them, and they took over. Plus, Shapen is a good football player for Mississippi State. On the other side, like Levitt and his legs, and then you've got Kyson Brown, who looks awesome. Raleek Brown, who's a very dynamic player. Kanye Udo, the kid from Army transfer. A healthy Jordan Tyson, healthy Shaman Medier. Outside of those two, though, as pass catchers, and then obviously what the two Browns can do out of the backfield, they're dynamic. But like, can another wide receiver step up? Right, like that's going to be huge, I think, for Dillingham and what they can do offensively. And then, yeah, I mean, we talked about Mississippi State. They played fine. I don't know, man. This feels like a lot for me.
The offensive
7
line,
points
was an issue. If it's as bad as it was last week, I'm sorry. If you scale the performance from the Mississippi State offensive line up from last week, saying, okay, Arizona State's this much better than Southern Miss, and you were this bad against Southern Miss, like how bad are you going to be? Yeah, that's something that could definitely be an issue. But also Southern Miss, talked about a little bit more talent, than some of these other teams in the Sun Belt. But Arizona State's going to be bringing a little bit more. And that was a team last year that I'm like, oh man, are we really sure that we like this front seven? You lose your best defensive player, and then boom, their front seven ended up shutting people down. What do they give up? Like less than 4.5 yards a carry on the entire year, maybe less than that. So uh, it's going to be an interesting matchup, and that would be the thing that it'd be their offensive line is what would lose me that Mississippi State +7 pick right there for sure.
I'm fading you though. I'm going Arizona State -7. I am curious to see the atmosphere down there in Stark Vegas. I hope there's a little bit of buzz growing in that program. I know last year was tough, but I hopefully do right the ship there and what Mississippi State can do this year and compete for a bowl game. But I still like Arizona State. I also think like they have to be desperate. Like this is a huge game for them. Like they have a lot more to lose than Mississippi State does, right? So with what they can do in the postseason, so that's the other thing there. And Dillingham is just awesome, and we love what's his name from Mississippi State, Levy, but Dillingham is awesome.
He's incredible. These are both incredible coaches. And the thing is, Levy could get canned in the next year or two, literally just because
he's going to make a great OC again. He's going to make a great OC again.
Oh my God. I cannot wait to see where he ends up. Now, here's the thing. If you get any lick of defensive talent on this team in future years, or say they just take a big jump, like for the remainder of the year, like he was such a problem last year for so many teams, and people didn't necessarily notice that because of the final score of the game, but like so many explosive plays that Jeff Lebby was dialing up for a true freshman quarterback. You had simultaneously, this is true. If you look at, on a down to down basis, it was simultaneously the most explosive by rate. You had the highest explosive rate per standard down, right? We're not talking about like fourth down or whatever, and like red zone stuff. But like standard downs, you had like the most explosive rate, in the SEC, and also the least efficient. You had both of those, right? And the least efficient part comes from your team just not being as talented as the other teams that you were playing against. And the explosive part, well, it could come from teams gambling, against Mississippi State because they're not very great. Or maybe Jeff Lebby was doing what he was doing at Ole Miss or at Oklahoma or at UCF. Like, Jeff Lebby can dial up the explosive play. I don't know. I'll fade you here, but that's fine. Just gotta find my week 2 dogs, all right? Because guess what? Week 2 is one of those weeks where I feel like the market, doesn't react. The market will never overreact, but fans will, and I will. So I'm trying to just be conservative and throw some dogs into these picks today.